Welcome to Nasdaq Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq. Joining me at the market site in Times Square, New York City, we have Jesse Kirshbaum. He is the CEO of NUE Agency. We're going to take a look at the streaming wars and the entertainment landscape. It's great to have you with us at Market Site. Welcome. And it's been a pretty busy year for streaming companies, for the entertainment industry, between companies like Disney, like Apple coming out with their own content. Of course, with coronavirus, everyone's staying home and streaming content. What are your thoughts around all this?
Yeah, it's a great time to be in streaming. Obviously, the whole space is very nervous and it's a kind of a convoluted time right now, but ultimately these streaming wars is just becoming a great opportunity for consumers to get better and better content.
Yeah, and it's also democratized content in general. You don't necessarily have to be at a studio or a certain location. Everyone is a photojournalist at this point.
Yeah, I mean, there's UGC left and right, and there's platforms like YouTube, which people aren't talking about as much as they should when it comes to the streaming wars. People are on their mobile device, and YouTube is dominating that mobile conversation. And it's true, anybody right now can walk down the street, and that could be their red carpet or their step and repeat.
In terms of content and there being so much of it, is it overload to the point where it's almost a distraction? Do you think at some point you will see consolidation within the industry, particularly as it's going to start to get expensive to have individual streaming services?
That's right. The user, it's already been shown that the consumer only wants to spend $42 a year, and that's up from last year when it comes to these streaming services. And there is only a finite amount of time in how much they can consume content-wise. So it is a little bit about musical chairs in terms of what apps and what platforms are going to end up on the user's phone.
42 a year, that sounds really low.
I mean, it's pretty expensive. It's up from last year, which was around 36. Yeah, I mean, that gives you about 4 platforms, 4 services for the year.
Yeah, I mean, how much TV or streaming can you actually watch, though?
I mean, that's the thing. It's a finite amount of time, and it becomes all about the IP, and it comes all about continuing to keep users engaged.
Do you think it's almost going to be like cable, where you had all these different cable providers and it's consolidated and continues to consolidate? Do you think some of the larger streaming services will start to look at these smaller ones and bundle them up within their packages?
Bundles are going to be huge. As more and more of these players come into the space and it becomes more and more overwhelming, it's going to be about how do you get as many of them together in a package that makes sense. And I think consumers are going to be all for the deal. And I think the right bundles are going to make all the sense in the world for these platforms.
Let's talk about the future of streaming. I had a guest on just before you, and I've had a number of guests come on where they're starting to integrate e-commerce into streaming platforms. Are you seeing that trend as well?
I think that makes a lot of sense. Absolutely. These platforms are getting more and more interactive, and absolutely people see what they see and then they want to click to buy. And so as these platforms get more sophisticated, there's opportunities to integrate new ancillary revenue opportunities.
Yeah, and they're also talking about how community and influencers are really key to this, particularly on the e-commerce end.
I mean, as we've seen that the influencer economy works, right? People follow these folks. There's more and more need for gatekeepers, and people, not necessarily gatekeepers, but curators to help you know where to go and what to navigate. If you can tell me what's good, then, and I trust you, then I'm going to follow that recommendation, especially with so many options out there. My issue with influencers is that a lot of them are pay for play and they lose some of their authenticity. Right. So I think there needs to be more kind of substantiated or like influencers that aren't just on the market.
Right, well, that makes sense, but I think it also lends to how strong the consumer is. Where this is what we want. These are the kind of products we want. These are the kind of people that we want endorsing them. And you know, traditional advertisement or TV is just not the way consumers are spending their money now.
It's a great time to be a consumer because it's like the golden age of television. More people are watching TV than ever. More people are consuming it. It's being made at a faster rate. There's all these great platforms vying for our attention, which means the content level has to go up. And that means as consumers, we are getting better and better material.
Yeah, Game of Thrones was amazing. Wait till 10, 15 years from now with the new stuff coming out.
Keeps getting better. It's really fun and exciting for
All right, Jesse,
fans.
Thanks so much for joining us at Market Site. And thank you for joining me on Trade Talks. I'm Jill Malandrino, Global Markets Reporter at Nasdaq.